There's been a lot of attention drawn toward the new upcoming Universes Beyond product lineup. Now, this could be from Final Fantasy, maybe you're talking about Avatar, or even Spider-Man. Let's not forget that the in-house IPs this year are also included because although they're not Universes Beyond, there is something all these products have in common compared to older products. The prices are changing, they're very expensive, and it's time to take a look back at where the prices have been and just how good of a deal some of these products now are. It's not your imagination when you think that Magic just suddenly got very expensive. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out on the channel for another video today. Now, if you look at anything from this year, and I'm not just talking Universes Beyond, you could say, Final Fantasy collector boxes, look at the Spider-Man, Avatar, but you can also look at the Play Booster boxes, which are only 30 packs now. Look at the prices of those products and let's compare it to older products even in the last little while. It's kind of a shocking thing to take a look at. And that's where we're going to take our viewing scope today. Because when you look at an older product that was 36 packs versus 30, you look at the singles inside, you look how those prices are holding up, as well as the price tag to buy it, it might just blow your mind a bit to see how good of a deal some of these products are. But even if they are, you can also take a look and see if these things are actually selling. Let's start right now by taking a look at our first one. This is March of the Machine Jump Start Boosters. $107.95 Canadian. Okay, they only have 2 available. Now the question you have to ask yourself, who's buying Jump Start Boosters? Well, there is a chance, and I remember the ones from Dominaria United, that you could actually get Children of the Apocalypse in it, right? So you could buy like $80 for the box, and you could actually double down and get a Children and pay for the whole box in one card. Now, when we actually look though, when you see where the sales are, and the sales are coming from TCG Player in US pricing, and you can see right here, they're not selling. May, June, July. Next to nothing is moving in this market, but at $74 to $89, there's a lot of playing potential. This is like an expensive board game at this point, and some of those cards actually could be worth money. But yet we don't talk about these boxes or see them being sold in any meaningful way, even though there could actually be decent cards held within those sets. You could take a look and say, what's going to be in there? A Shieldred maybe? Italy the Primal Conqueror? Jitaxis? Urbrask? I don't know, but there might be some of these cards. Now, they're not going to be the fancy foil versions or anything, but you still could get some of these cards inside, right? Tribute to the World Tree, a Fairy Mastermind, cards of $10, $11, $12 could still readily be inside these boxes, even in a Jumpstart Booster box, but they're just less of them, less of a chance, depending on what color combinations you get. And that's where you can look at that and say, I wonder what would happen. Now, of course, if we jump over, though, and you took a look at the Epilogue boosters, remember these? The tiny boxes? Well, they're only $109. This isn't, again, a very expensive product. It's available. It's cheap. They have lots in stock. So what are we talking about when we look at sets like this and the idea? Well, you can look at those sets and ask yourself, where are things going to go with the pricing of the product? What singles are going to be found in there that are actually going to add up to any meaningful value if you wanted to crack it for singles? Well, if you're going to play with it, that doesn't really matter. But if you're going to crack these things open and enjoy them, well, you might be surprised by some of the value inside these cards. Because when you look inside the box, again, smaller box size, I get it. It's a smaller size. But you could still get Nahiri, you could get Sarkhan, Obnixilis, right? You could get some of these cards inside. Calyx, Guided by Fate. Not all these cards have to be expensive, but there's enough little bits of value in there to kind of trick your mind and say, you know what? It's not the worst product. It's not the worst lineup of cards. And there might be something that is worth buying. Now, when we look at the sales, though, this one is, again, very interesting. It's not dead in the market, but there's sales, every week or so, every few days, a few boxes is moving. So unlike what we just saw with the Jumpstart Booster box, we're seeing a lot more sales history. A bad product is just that, a bad product, and many players don't want to buy boxes to hold on to. But if there's good cards inside, if it's at a reasonable price, players are going to dive in and buy it a little bit more often than you would expect, especially given the age of certain products and maybe the the stigma that's attached to that product lineup, like we had with Jumpstart. Not a lot of people like the actual Jumpstart product, although there were a nice little audience of fans that did buy the products, but when they started putting horrible cards inside, it just caused a complete collapse of that product lineup. Now, let's go over and take a look at something a little more possibly of interest for people. This is Streets of New Capenna. Do you guys remember this? The whole mob story thing, the whole City of Angels, the special elixir stuff. And you can see the boxes here at $129.95. That's a Canadian price. But when we look at the actual sales, you'll see again, and in US pricing, anywhere from $85 to $95 per box, okay? For an English draft box of this product. Now, let's not forget, when you're looking at this set, maybe not everyone liked the storyline. Maybe not everyone was like digging the vibe of everything. Put that all aside. Take a look at the cards. Let's not forget that we've got triomes in here. You've got Jetmir's Garden, Xander's Lounge, Raffine's Tower, Spara's Headquarters. We've got good stuff. And you could have the full art one. You can't get the special ones that I think were only inside the collector boxes. But you have lots of options for these cards in the $10 to $12 range. Now, I opened quite a bit of this product, especially at the store level to help people out. We were like sorting cards. And I think we averaged like 3 to 4 of the triomes per box, give or take. I wish I had my spreadsheet in front of me, but you're looking at that, okay? And with all the different types available, that's not bad. Now, of course, when we start looking at individual cards within the set, not everything is going to drive forward and say this is worth a lot of money, but the Font of Hope, there's a few of these nice cards like Ledger Shredder. These cards are still holding $6, $7, $8 values, okay? We also have cards like Elspeth Resplendent. There's other things inside the set that drove value other than the lands. Remember like Lord Xander? He was actually not a bad card either. I think he's really cheap now, but all these cards inside, even if you're just playing this for draft fun, this is a very reasonable product price. And again, when we compare this, when we take a look at this product line, and you compare it against newer sets, things like Bloomburrow, go ahead and take a look at Duskmourn. Maybe you're going to take a look at Aether Drift, Karlov Manor. Any of the sets I've just shown you, even the Jumpstart one, they're not worthless sets. They are playable, fun sets to play. Maybe not in competitive formats, but as a casual thing to open a box and play, that's a kind of nice thing to do, and it's at a reasonable price. When you look at the Aftermath box or older boxes of that type, yeah, it's a mini box, doesn't have that many cards and stuff, but there was some value inside those boxes. Now, if you jumped over and you look at Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow, they're around the same price as the Streets of New Capenna. Brothers War for a draft box, $10 more. And you can get a Brothers War draft box. You can't tell me that box isn't loaded with lots of fun. Maybe not the most expensive cards, but a lot of fun factor, a lot of playability inside those boxes. And of course, they're not in production anymore. They're not around anymore. At $140, $130, $120, all of these boxes are roughly half the price of new boxes. 72 packs versus 30. That is a very strong motivational tool to look at and say, maybe I should just buy a couple of boxes and chill back a little bit. Maybe just kick back with some friends and have a couple of Friday nights of Magic or several weekend results over one same price of a new box. Now, I'm not saying the new boxes aren't loaded with goodness. And yes, the production runs were cut massively. I can look at though, and I can tell you from Brothers War, from Streets of New Capenna, all these sales are pretty consistent. They're still selling quite well, and they're selling over a longer period of time, which means there's an audience for these products. It's not the same person buying over and over, but there's a variety of people buying for a variety of reasons. And when we compare this against newer products, they don't stand toe-to-toe with each other. One is a definite recognition that Wizards of the Coast has done a great job in putting a product line together with an exclusive nature at a higher price point. The other is a mass-produced product with less value but still high playability factor. It depends on what players are after from their Magic the Gathering experience, what they're after from that hobby. But I ask you this, and we've had this before, we're about 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, even the worst sets like Fallen Empire still went somewhere, didn't they? If you're a flipper, a speculator, you know this. You've been around the game for a while. You've researched, you've done it, and you know the math. When you look at a newer product, we don't know how those products are going to turn out at that higher price point. We're in a realm of value we've never been at before, where the sets like Brothers War, Streets of New Capenna, Epilogue, all these ones here are at that smaller, lower price point, And that's kind of the pricing we've been used to for so long. We kind of know, yeah, it could double in like 10, 12 years because there's enough stuff going on. And don't get me started if Wizards of the Coast does a whole rehash on their reprint schedule. If they pull back on the reprint schedule, we're in an entirely different realm. We're going Beastie Boys in this stuff. It's going intergalactic because if those cards don't get reprinted, a lot of value gets found in older cards that you just can't ignore. Either way, it gives you food for thought. It takes a moment of your day to watch this video and ask yourself those questions. How important are the newest products? Maybe you want the singles. How, if you want to buy a sealed, maybe you want to go back and take a look at some of the ones that already exist at a very reasonable and attractive price point. Thank you again for hanging out today. Thanks for dropping by my channel. Don't forget to drop some comments in the comment section. I look forward to seeing you guys every day. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow with another video. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of my channel. Because of you guys, we're here at the channel editing, creating content for everyone to enjoy each and every day. And it's all because of that one group of people out there who stand tall in the world of the Moxman. So thanks again for supporting my channel. Looking forward to seeing you guys each and every day in the comment sections. Drop those things down, put some thumbs up. Let's get this party started. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Welcome back to the Ramble and the Jamble. My mean face. Oh, game day. All right, so you can't tell me those prices aren't attractive, guys. $100 a box, $130 versus $229, $289, $320. Come on. I gotta be honest, $320 for Final Fantasy is basically 3 boxes. I could get a Brothers War, I could get an epilogue, and then I could probably throw in a Streets of New Capenna or Crimson Vow or something. Think about that for 1 box of Final Fantasy Play Booster Box. That's nutty. Like my brain goes, huh? Okay, Raggy. It gets a little bit funny, right? So I don't know what to tell you, but my brain was going there today. When I looked at what was on sale at places like 401, and you look at all the stuff out there and you go, when those old boxes disappear, the pricing is going to be changed forever. But until those boxes are gone, we still got time, and that's always a good sign. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for being part of the Backstage Pass edition, the Ramble and the Jamble. Drop a ramble jamble in the comment section. Let me know you're still alive.